I used to produce when I was a kid. I learned how to make music at a place called SAE Institute. But I grew up with two producers, like pretty famous producers called Rusty and Hudson Mohawk. And any time I tried to like turn my hand to producing, I was like, my stuff is just miles behind what they made because they're like, for me, they're geniuses in their craft. So I kind of gave up. And then Oliver Scream was going down to this studio called Devon Analog Studios, which is a place where you rent out for like a week or 3 days, and they've got like beds and stuff. You stay over, you cook your own food, and you work all day and you work all night on music. And the first day I walked in, Oliver showed me this machine which I was already aware of called the Roland TR-909, which is a Japanese drum machine, which is notoriously hard to program. And he was like, I reckon you're going to love this. And as soon as I started writing live beats on this machine, I was like completely hooked. I share this studio with my mate Jasper James, and we went to Devon Analog Studios a couple of weeks later. He tried it and immediately bought one, and that kind of was what got me hooked. I'd always had ideas in my head that I wanted to bring to fruition, and thanks to people like Scream, I was able to do that. And I really just caught the bug for it. Downloaded everything. Downloaded Ableton to start with. We bought the 909, a few MIDI controllers, a few synths, and yeah, it was just like, I can remember during the pandemic, me and Jasper were in the studio like every day, all day, just banging tunes out. Some good, some not so good. I wouldn't say it particularly became naturally to me, but like I said, Ableton is a very intuitive program, like once you get into it. But I was lucky enough to have people around me like Scream and Jasper who would help me, particularly Jasper. Like Jasper's fucking pretty good at Ableton, and also my brother Johnny is like better than pretty much anyone I've seen on it. I've got a pretty eclectic taste in music, ranging from like the stuff that my dad brought me up with, which is like Prince, Motown, Average White Band, stuff like that. I was trying to kind of capture garage, a little bit of grime, techno electro with the Keith Tucker vocal, and a little bit of maybe my style of DJing, which is like fast, rapid, chopping and changing through stuff, lots of drops, and like, yeah, I guess paying um, homage to people that influenced me, like DMZ, the Armin van Helden remix of Kim English, which I sampled. Armin van Helden's like one of my ultimate heroes. So that was like my kind of inspiration behind the track. The first time I did it was in London. It was like probably the best gig I've ever had. I'd never met Armin van Helden, and he'd never heard of me ever. And the Boiler Room sent him like some links of like my mixes and stuff, and he was like, "Yeah, I can get down with that, whatever." And we walked into the green room, and I remember he had this aura around him, man. He dresses so cool, and he's like such a nice guy and such a cool guy. And Heidi was like, "There's Armand. Are you not going to go and say hi to him since you're doing back to back?" I was like, "No fucking way am I saying hi to him. I'm too scared." And I finally plucked up the courage to go over and talk to him and stuff. And like we got on famously well, and like just the chemistry we had like during the set was just like, I don't know. I never expected it, but it was incredible. Like, and to have that with one of your idols, and to have people tell me like so often like how much they enjoy that set, it's like that means the world to me, man. I talked about ideas in my head that I wanted to put into fruition with when I finally started making music, or did ever started making music. And one of those ideas was to sample that vocal Face Your Fate by Keith Tucker and Black Tony, because Keith Tucker is one of my all-time idols from Detroit. Like Detroit is like is responsible for my favourite music in the world, and I like the sentiment of the vocal as well. And I just thought I dragged it into the track, and it just seemed to sit really well with all the other parts. One of the first records I was given as my musical education was an Optic Nerve record, and like from then I kind of got obsessed with Keith Tucker, man, and Face Your Fate original. I first heard it Rubber Dubs Club 69, which was in Paisley, which is where I used to go every Saturday and get my serious musical education. Man, that was like I would go there and I wouldn't know one single track that was played, and every single track sounded like it was from outer space, and it just used to blow my mind. Man, I would go raving there on a Saturday night, wake up on a Sunday afternoon, go into the record shop and like try and sing the tracks that I'd heard the night before to whoever was working in the shop and be like, do you remember this tune? Do you know this tune? Do you know this tune? And one of them would be Keith Tucker, Face Your Fate. And yeah, so I'd buy that and I'd buy all the rest of them if I had the money. Yeah, I mean, I've had the chance to play the track obviously a lot out on the road, but I get nervous about playing my own tunes, man. It's kind of like quite nerve wracking to play your own stuff because I mean, it's amazing. There is one track in particular that I did with Screaming Devon, and it's been going down amazing. And it's obviously the first time you play it, it's nerve wracking, but like you know, to play that track first time, and if it wasn't to get a good reaction, you know, like it would be like I probably would never play again. That's my kind of I don't know. That's my kind of fear, but I'll definitely be playing it at SWC with Jasper on the 12th of November. So that's the world debut.